Before we begin, I do want to give a little shout out to Dante's and especially Kawana Short, the program manager that we work with. She and her team just do a tremendous amount of work for this program, and they're the ones that are really making this partnership possible, so that service members can get the educational training that they want and need. So again, thank you to Dante's. All right, so you'll see our agenda here. We're going to talk about the Online Academic Skills Training Counselor Toolkit, the purpose of the toolkit, what's in it, where you will find it, how you use it, and then the way ahead, things to come. So exciting things on the horizon. Before we get into the toolkit, I'd like to provide a little bit of a refresher on the academic skills training, including its purpose and who it is for. So the online academic skills training is comprised of two courses, essentially. The first is what we call OASC, the Online Academic Skills course. And this course basically focuses on foundational academic skills that are needed for service members to complete education credentials, work toward college degree programs, and advance in their military careers. Specifically, the Online Academic Skills course, Online Academic Skills course is focused on the ASVAB and the AFCT. So the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, and then once someone is in the service, we call that the Armed Forces Classification Test. The OASC provides academic preparation in math, English, and science. It also provides study skills preparation and test-taking strategies. This is especially important as a lot of folks haven't been in an academic setting for a while, perhaps since high school. So it's a nice refresher in terms of, how to study, how to get organized, and how to basically prepare yourself for a test. Also within this course, we have a variety of practice tests, diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments. So basically, a service member can be sort of analyzing how they're doing within this course at the beginning, during the course, and then get a final assessment of how they have progressed. So why would a service member use this course? Reclassification is probably the biggest reason. Also, service members can use this course. It may help them qualify for commissioning or career development programs, also general academic skill building, college prep, and in some cases, some service branches would use this for proof that a service member is ready to get tuition assistance. It's free. There's a 24/7 access online, obviously, who can use this course. All active duty service members, their families, and DoD civilians. So I also like to mention that because these courses are great for students that are in high school or beginning their college journey. So if there are family members in that situation, encourage them to use this. It's a free service. So the CPST, this is the College Placement Skills Training course. The CPST helps students achieve academic college readiness and prepares students for college placement exams, including the AccuPlacer. Subject areas include math and English, as well as lessons on study skills and test taking. So many colleges and universities, especially community colleges, have students take the AccuPlacer exam to assess their academic readiness for college coursework. This is also a common requirement, especially for adults going back to school. So essentially what colleges want to do is when an adult student is coming back to school, they want to make sure that they're ready, that they haven't, perhaps lost skills in their time away from an academic setting. Frequently, they use the AccuPlacer exam to assess readiness. Now, if the student does not show the needed academic readiness, they may be placed into remedial classes. And these classes are intended to shore up these skill gaps, which is wonderful. But the disadvantage is that they delay time to degree, and they may add unforeseen costs. And no one wants to spend their time, energy, and money taking these remedial non-credit-bearing college courses. Additionally, the CPST is just great if it's been a while since you've used the academic part of your brain. Both of these courses provide study skills and a refresher on, basically how to study and how to get organized academically. Again, this is also available for all active duty service members, their families, and DoD civilians. Next slide. So now what? If you build it, they will come. Does anyone know what movie this is from? This phrase was popularized in the 1980s movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, where Costner's character builds a baseball field and miraculously baseball players come back from beyond the grave to play one last game on the baseball diamond in the middle of this cornfield. In essence, the story is telling us that if you make something that's great and that people want, they'll find a way to get it. Well, is this true? Any marketer or business person will tell you that it's not that easy. Having a great product or service is only half the battle. In reality, we might rephrase this to say, if you build it, will they come? And that's why we've created this counselor toolkit to help counselors in their mission of furthering academic and career development for service members. Next slide. Next slide. So the counselor toolkit, what is in it? We are going to provide you with information about study tools, promotional materials, getting started materials, basically how to, reporting access, support, and then also we're going to talk a little bit about what's to come, what other things you will have in your toolkit in the coming months. Next slide. So study tools, where do you find them? So how can service members study? We have a couple of different ways. The first, most popular, is our self-directed web courses, the OASC and the CPST. We also have some ebooks available to help service members. We will have CDs, which are basically a CD version of the OASC, and these are only for non-connective environments. So environments where there's no Wi-Fi connectivity. These are available by request at support@petersons.com. Again, they're not currently ready, but they will be ready shortly. And we ask that these are only requested if you do not have internet availability. One of the great things about the web courses is that we use a lot of data from the web courses to track how students are doing across branches and across bases. Obviously, with CDs, we do not have the ability to to track things and provide data. So again, just try to use those when you do not have Wi-Fi. Also very exciting, we have a mobile app in development, and this is wonderful because this is something that service members will be able to use on the go, prep in your pocket, and a version will be available online, and then we will also have some offline lessons as well. Next slide. This is basically the splash page of the online portal where students will log in to the OASC and CPST. I'd like to note here that we have a new URL, https://dantes.petersons.com. This is a new URL. The old URL is forwarding to this one. However, the forwarding will end at the end of 2020. So if you have any marketing or promotional materials that you have created on your own, please make sure to go back and change those links. Next slide. These are the ebooks that I talked about. These are available within the portal. You must be logged in. But one is an ebook about college success tips, especially helpful for adult learners. And then the other one is a military career advancement ebook. Next slide. Promotional materials. We have created a variety of promotional materials for you all to use. We'll provide some visuals here in a second, but I know that some of you will use this presentation later on, so we did want to just spell out all those URLs for you so that you can get them later on. We have posters, fact sheets, promotional video, and service members actually automatically receive a certificate for completing the course. We'll show that in just a second. And that is something that service members can take to their testing office as evidence that they've prepared and they're ready to retake the test. Next slide. Here are all these great promotional materials that you have available for your use. So these posters are available to print out in the Dantes portal at dantes.petersons.com. Within the educator portal, you can print out these posters. At the Dantes website, you can print out the fact sheet, and then that's just a visual of the certificate that a student would get when they complete the course, and that's something that's automatically provided once they complete the course. So you do not have to do anything on your end to provide that certificate. The online courseware provides that, and students can print it out. Next slide. Actually, can we go back to the previous slide? One more thing I forgot to mention. These posters, handouts, flyers, and also the promotional video, these are great things that you can obviously put around the installation, but also I would encourage you to use social channels. If you have, if there's, a Facebook group or, a Reddit thread, these are things that you can put up on there to help promote promote activity in the course. Next slide. So one of the frequent questions that we get from counselors is, how do I get started? How do I, as a counselor, kind of get in there and get going? We have a number of onboarding materials to basically assist you and lead you step by step through the process. So the first thing that I just want to mention here is that all of these materials are in the portal, dantes.petersons.com. So for an educator or a counselor to gain access, there's really 2 steps to doing that. The first thing that everyone has to do is contact support@petersons.com to request a base code. Now, the reason we are asking you to do this is because, again, that goes back to reporting. And also, we want to make sure that the educators and counselors are getting reporting only for that particular installation or installations, and not for, the entire service branch. So once you get that base code, then you can go back to the portal and you can create an account. Again, all free, very easy to do. Our support is very responsive. You can email them, call them. There's a phone number later in the webinar that I will communicate. So that takes very little effort. Just email us, we'll get you your base code, and then you'll be on your way. After you're in the portal, I highly, highly recommend that you complete the educator training course. This is an online course, and you can probably complete it within 30 minutes tops, but the purpose of this course is to just walk you through the software and show you how to access everything you need. So you can always go back to that training course if you're confused about what a service member should be seeing in their course, or how things work, or technical compatibility. Always go back to that training course. You do get a printable certificate for completing the training. That may or may not be important to you, but that is the first step once you have access. We also have informational webinars once a month about getting started, also marketing and promotion, but we put these webinars up in the resources tab in the educator portal, so you can access them there. I also want to let you know that these informational webinars, we promote them on the Mill Ed Benefits mobile app, which is available in the Apple Store or Google Play. There's a little icon graphic there, and you can see that announcements, notifications will pop up in the app to tell you that these things are happening. The webinars are also promoted on the Dantes website. And then just wanted to let you know, mark it in your calendar. Our next webinar is September 23rd at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And our next webinar is going to be on the topic of marketing. Next slide, please. Another question that we frequently get is reporting. Where do I find reporting? So again, we need to log into that educator portal. This is a screenshot of once you're logged into the portal, what you would see. Then from there, you want to click on the course for which you'd like reports. So if it's OASC or CPST, you click on that course. Next slide. From there, you'll see the course. So this is an example of actually, I'm logged in as an educator in this screenshot, and I can actually see the course contents. So if I want to go through and see what a service member sees, then I can go through some of those lessons. But if I want to check on how students are actually progressing, I will click on the Class Progress tab. Next slide. And the Class Progress tab, what you'll see here is this is an example of Fort Sam Houston. You can see it's filtered for that base/installation. And I've redacted, obviously, the service member names, but you can see that this is a listing of the service members who have logged in from that installation, what content they've completed, their quizzing results, how much content they visited, and then also their logins. So we can see that, you know, there are some folks that have, only logged in once, and then there are some folks who have logged in multiple times. If we were to scroll down on this screen, we would see all the service members enrolled for that particular installation. Next slide. If you want to see reports by an individual, you would click on that particular individual in the last slide. And from here, you would be able to see that individual's grades, the content they've visited, how many times they've accessed, how much time they've spent in the course, and then how many particular logins that they've had. So the student can also see their own progress summary. So this should not be news to them. But this is just a nice way for you to be able to see how individual service members are doing. You can also print out this report, and you can drill down a little bit more for particular grades or content. Next slide, please. So where do I find support if you're having trouble? So the best way to get technical support is to contact Peterson's support line. You can either email us at support@petersons.com, or you can call us at 1-800-338-3282. Our support hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. We do have a dedicated person for support, so our response time is actually pretty quick. The other thing that I'd also like to mention is that we have a peer-to-peer message board within the portal, and this is not restricted to service members. Counselors can also start a string or thread on these message boards and ask for advice, encouragement, ideas. This is a great way to just crowdsource ideas to get more involvement in the course, or just discuss different challenges that you may be having. Next slide. So how are we doing so far? Okay. Next slide. I want to just give you a quick snapshot of activity within the course. So we've actually had a great deal of activity. You may know that we relaunched this entire platform and course starting June 1st. And so that's why you'll see that May, we don't have any activity there because this is just for this new platform. So we've had a number of enrollments since June 1st. And some of the insights that we can glean here are that obviously the Army is the largest user of the courseware, especially when you factor in the reserves and the National Guard. And we can also see that the Marine Corps has the second largest usage. So we update this high-level data at least once a month and share it with key personnel at DANTES and among the branches. So this is just to tell you that we are monitoring progress, and we want to keep seeing these numbers to continue to rise month over month, and continue to get feedback so that we have more service members using these courses and getting what they need. Next slide. The way ahead. I wanted to let you know of a couple things that are going to be happening in the coming months that I think you'll be very excited about. Next slide. So the first thing is an adaptive course. So we are altering the software just a little bit so that it will be more adaptive and personalized for each service member. This will also shorten the length of the course, which I know many of you will be excited about. So, for instance, a service member will take a pre-assessment. Let's say the pre-assessment is in math. If the service member masters all of the fractions questions, for example, they will not have to go through any instructional lessons on that fractions component. So basically, subject matter areas where they have performed sufficiently, they will not have to do that again within the course. So I know that that will be really welcome from both you, the counselors, and from service members. So this should shorten the time to get that certificate and complete the course. Also, I mentioned before, we are creating a mobile app. So this is awesome for a number of reasons. One, almost everyone has a cell phone. So this is going to allow service members to prep anytime and essentially anywhere. This will be available in the App Store and Google Play. The other great thing about this is that we have been able to configure it for both online and offline usage. So if a service member doesn't have Wi-Fi, but they do have their cell phone with them, there are going to be a number of lessons that they can do offline. And then when they do come back into connectivity, it will sync up. So basically, they can do some prep offline when they get back into a service area with Wi-Fi. That will all sync up. This will also sync with the online course. So again, really exciting, and that should be coming in the next couple months. I'd also like to give a shout out to Dr. Irina Rader and the BSEP working group. They have developed the BSEP e-guide for soldiers, and it will be available in the near future on the DANTES MilEd Benefits app. As I mentioned before, the MilEd Benefits app is currently available in the App Store and in Google Play, and just a great source of information for counselors and service members. Then also wanted to let you know we are creating more how-to videos. We realize that more and more people are learning more effectively by watching videos. Some folks have referred to younger generations as the YouTube generation. So we're taking that into account, and we're going to create more onboarding videos that are on demand for both service members and counselors to view in a visual format. Okay. Questions and feedback. One of my colleagues, I believe, has been sourcing questions through the chat box. If you haven't put in a question, but you have one, now is the time to put that in.
All right, Elizabeth, looks like we have one question. Will reports be available to download in Excel format or some other format that allows sorting data on class?
Currently, no. Also, I'll take this opportunity to just say that we are also sourcing feedback for the next webinar. And you can always send feedback or suggestions about the courses or the webinar or any recommendations that you have to academicskills@navy.mil. And that will go to the good folks at Dantes. And we really want to make sure that this course is effective for both counselors and service members. So by all means, send us your suggestions. Any other questions or areas that you would like to have covered further? We can always go back in the presentation. Well, this is good news. I don't see any more questions coming through. Again, thank you for coming. We will send a video recording out to all registrants, and you can view this again at your leisure. If you have additional questions, again, feel free to send those in. You can send them to dantes@academicskills@navy.mil, or if you have specific questions about the courseware, please feel free to contact us at Peterson's. support@petersons.com is the email address, and we'll take feedback and also questions, and that's where you can get technical support as well. Okay, thank you very much for coming. I'll let you get back to your day. Please have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Everyone in the Gulf area, please stay safe.